Hi, I'm Richard, and in this video I would like to talk about drawing using mathematics. Now, here you can see that like a smiley face, and it was drawn just by using some like mathematical expressions. You can do much more cool stuff than this. You just, for example, for inspirations, you can go to desmos.com/art, where you will see many interesting pictures. And yeah, but I won't talk about how to create these, but rather I will talk about the principles that are behind it. Because when I first encountered this idea of drawing using mathematics, I had no idea what it means. So that's what I want to tell you about. The easiest thing to draw is a point. And actually, if you know how to draw a point, you can draw anything just by drawing many points. But that will be quite hard, so we use some tricks. But yeah, well, it all comes to drawing a point. So how do you do that? Well, you see that here is some grid, and there are numbers on this horizontal line, and there are numbers on the vertical line. And say that I would like to draw a point here. How do I do that? Well, always when you want to draw a point, write brackets, and then you write the number that's under or above the place where you want to put the point. So here it is 4, and then you write the point. So I write 4, comma, and then I write the number which is next to the point where I want, next to the point, and that's 2 in this case. And you see, I have a point here. Now, say I would like to create a point here. So the number here is 6, and here the number is 2. So I write brackets 6, 2, and I have point here, and so on and so forth. So for example, if I would like to write a point here, what would I do? Again, I write brackets, then I write this number which is here, and -2, and I get point here, and so on and so forth. But these points are quite boring in that they just sit there, and you cannot move with them. But you can make points that you can move with. And by the way, here are these labels, so you can see what is the point, how did you create it. And to create a point that you can move with, which will be quite useful for later, you just write brackets. But instead of writing numbers now, you write letters. You write A, B, or anything else. You could write C or T, for example, and you hit enter. What happens is now that you have a point that you can drag. And look here on the left side that when you are dragging the point, something is happening. And well, what? So if I drag the point here, what I can see is that A is 4 and B is 2. Interesting. Oh, it's similar here. Here's 4 as well and 2. Okay, so what happens if I drag it here? Oh, there's 6 and 2, and I have dragged it to point where 6 and 2. So if I drag it here, will there be 6 and -2? Oh, there is. I mean, almost, but yeah, you get the idea. So how is that? What does this mean? Well, here I have two numbers, which, I mean, two letters, and they each represents a number. A right now represents 6, and here I have a point which has the first number A, and if A is 6, then the point will have first number 6. And as a second number, the point has number B, and B is now -2, which is, so it makes sense that the draggable point is there where there is the like 0.6 -2. If I drag the point here to 0, 0, I get 0, 0, and so on. And I can also like drag A and change the position of the point. Like, think about why is that the case. And I can change B, and even though I'm like swiping with B from right to left, the point is moving up and down, and like that makes sense because B is the second number. And remember that the second number determines how up or down something is. So if I am increasing B, I am increasing these numbers, which are like going up the way, the up. Sorry, I'm increasing the number, so it should go up. and if I'm decreasing it, it should go down. Amazing. And basically, now I could end here. Now you know everything, because it all comes down to coloring individual points. For example, you might be asking, hey, but I want to draw lines as well, not only points. For example, you might want to draw a line here. How could you do that? Well, you could just write many points there. You could create a point here, and then create a point here, and you could draw many points here. But okay, I get it. That's quite hard, and yeah, it will be long and very annoying. So there is a trick for drawing line. The trick boils down to recognizing that all of these points on the line have something in common. There is some condition, and the condition is that the first number is 2. Okay, so we write first number is 2. Oh, and Desmos doesn't understand me. He doesn't draw a line here. That's annoying. So I have to translate it to something that he will understand. And fortunately, there is something very common how you can talk to Desmos. Now, there are these special numbers, x and y. And x is the name for a number that's kind of determining where the points are on like right to left. Usually you would say x coordinate. And here there's x2. Here there's x4, x6, and so on. And so maybe I could tell to Desmos that I want x to be equal to 2. And so x is 2. Oh, that doesn't work, of course, because I'm using words. I should just write equal. X equals 2. Amazing! I have line there. So just to try it again, if I want line here, what should I write? Okay, so the number that's determining how right or left something is called x, and then we have to write that is equal to 8. Yes! And what if I would like the draggable line? Oh, you remember how we were dragging a here? So maybe let's say that we want x to be equal to a. And now if we are moving with a, we are moving with the line. Also, what's cool about Desmos is that you can move with the point, and which depends on a, and you move with the line as well. Amazing. Alright, but what about horizontal lines? Well, we can use similar concept, but we just have to talk about the numbers that are determining how up or down something is. So x was determining how right or left something is, but y, but the other number is called y. So if I want line here, I will call it y equals 2. If I want line here, or would you guess if I would like the same line which is already here, what should I write? Y equals, and what is the number here? 0. So I write y equals 0. Great. Also, if I want a draggable line, I can write y equals b. And then I can take point, because but it only works because I'm using b in this point. And I can drag the point, and I'm dragging both lines with it. Or I could come up with another letter. I could say y equals c. And then what I would want is to give c some value and just like enter, and then I can move with the line without moving with this point. Yeah, so that's it. Now you see that it's becoming quite cluttered. So the nice thing about Desmos is that basically you can just like turn off the things you don't want to see. It's not deleting, because you can then turn them back on. You can turn off the labels and so on. Yeah, that's very helpful. That's very helpful. The other thing is that you can change colors of things. For example, you can go here to settings and click here on color and just like say, oh, I don't want this to be black, I want this to be purple, or yeah, green, and so on. I want this thicker, well maybe more opaque. This will be more thicker, I think. Yes. and here you can choose whether you want it dashed or dots. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff you can play around with, but yeah. Okay, so these would be lines which are horizontal or lines that are vertical. But what if you would want line which is neither, which is somehow, say, like this? Well, the simple, in that it doesn't require any thinking approach, is that you can just color out all these points that are here. So for example, imagine that you want line which is passing through these corners. So you just write, well, the first point will be 0, 0. The next point will be 0 0.1, 0 0.1. You see, and well, we will probably get. Yeah, and well, you can very well see that like it would eventually lead there, but again, it's quite hard work, right? You would have to write many points. So how do you do line? So how do you draw a line? Well, as before, you can see that actually it would work, right? But it's quite a lot of work. So we want to avoid it. We want to come up with a trick. And how could we do that trick? Well, before, when we were doing the lines that were either vertical or horizontal, we came up with some condition. The condition was that x was equal to some number, or y was equal to some number. But here, what is the condition? Because x is changing, right? X was first 0 0.1, then it was 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 0 0.4, and y was 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 0 0.4. And remember, by x I mean the first number, and by y I mean the second number. Wow, but so can you come up with a condition that would work for the line? Well, you can notice that although x and y are changing, they are same. That sounds like interesting condition. Let's try it. X equals y. Wow, it works. We have this line. Amazing. And it works because basically we tell Desmos, hey Desmos, could you please color every single point that has the same x as it has y? And Desmos goes and checks for all these points. So for example, when he looks here, he sees that x is 2, right? That's this number, but y is a 0. So 2 does not equal 0, so he doesn't color that out. But when he looks here, he sees x is 2, y is 2, so I will color this point. And he does that for all points, and you see, you get this line, which is very, very long. Amazing. Now, could we rotate it? Could we make it, say, more steep? Yes. So, for example, if we would want y, we would want this point, then y would be 2 and x would be 1. So, for example, I will just hide all of these points so that they are not confusing us, or me at least. Right. So again, we could start drawing these points, and it would be something like 0, 0 again. Now you can see that these points lie on a steeper line. So how can we express this line? What is the condition, again, for Desmos that will help him color out all these points that lie in between? Can you figure it out from these? So here we have x equals half, and then we have y equals 1. Here x is 1 and y equals 2, and so on and so forth. So maybe the condition will be x equals 1/2, which you can do slash to 1/2 y, or equally you can write y equals to x, right? This is just like different color. They are the same lines. And yeah, that's about it. Another amazing thing what you can do is actually that you can come up with line that would be rotating, and I will show how to do it, just like this, right? And now I will turn off all these points, and now you have line which you can tilt like this, you see? And why is that? Because here again you have some condition, and the condition is that y equals n times x. And for example, when n is 0, then it's the same line as saying y equals 0, which we saw before, is this line. If we change n to 1, then we get another condition, which would be y equals 1 times x, which is this line, as we saw before, and so on and so forth. So basically when you are changing, so yeah, the logic is that desmos uses this condition to color all the points that for which this condition is true, and when you are changing n, you are changing this condition. Yeah, you see, so when n is 1.6, you can again like write y equals 1.6 x, amazing. And now when you change n, this line changes, but not this one, because this has always the same condition, but this condition depends on n, and remember we are changing n. And I think that's like about it for the first video, because there was, if you have never seen this, I assume there's quite a lot of this, and let me know whether that was interesting or not, and just play around with it, because there are so many cool things you can do with it eventually. Really, check out Desmos art. And if you are interested in the things I was doing here, I will share the link to my project, and you can copy it. I will share that in the description.